Alien Romulus is directed by Fede Alvarez and is about a group of people that live and work in a mining colony operated by the Whaling-Yutani Company, and they decide to go to an abandoned space station to take cryonic chambers so that they can travel to a faraway planet where they presume that the living conditions for them will be better for them than they are now. I will say right off the bat that you can tell that this movie is directed by the same person who directed Evil Dead from 2013 and Don't Breathe from 2016, because there are sequences in this film that are shot exactly like some of the most tense scenes in two films. Fede Alvarez knows how to build tension, and he knows how to build it well. I also would like to praise the look of this film. There is some CGI sparsely throughout the film that I didn't find that appealing, but I love the look of the ship and the space station that occupy most of this movie. It feels very old school, like you can tell that the creators of this film just love the original Alien movie, as all of us obviously do. I think one of my biggest problems with the installments of the series post Alien 3 is that they've had a hard time finding their identity. What I mean by that is sometimes they want to be like the original Alien, and sometimes they want to be like Aliens, and sometimes end up satisfying the legacy of either because they eventually just try and be both. I thought Prometheus was different almost to a fault, but I did admire the ambition, and I thought the Alien Covenant was carried by Michael Fassbender, but it had issues keeping itself together. With this movie, I feel that it stripped away all of the idealism from the previous two movies and decided to make it a return to form, including the CRT monitors and the outputs from the cameras. It all felt like it was made in the 80s, which I liked. The problem for me is that some of the rules that have been established in this series are bent just a little, and a few of them get even broken. Without getting into spoilers, I will say that it seems that no one that has made these films in the last 25 years can nail down the incubation period for aliens after a facehugger has infected someone. Sometimes it's days, sometimes it's hours, and in the case of this movie, it seems like it's minutes. One thing that frustrated me is that it didn't establish where in the timeline the film takes place. And I just watched all the previous movies this week in preparation for this film, so I was getting a little frustrated. Then about halfway through the movie, the time frame for this story is established and it made sense to me, so it stopped frustrating me. This movie doesn't really touch much on the Prometheus and Covenant mythology, so if you are hoping for more answers with those threads, this film may disappoint you. What Romulus does do is it brings it back to a haunted house in space, which is what made the original so successful. There is a wonderful sequence in this movie where the characters have to navigate a corridor in complete silence, and it is shot so well and the tension is so great. It reminded me of the best scenes in Don't Breathe. As I said, Fede Alvarez knows how to build tension. One of my biggest complaints of the film, though, is that with the exception of the character Rain, wonderfully played by Cailee Spaeny, I hope I pronounced her name correctly, and the character Andy, played by David Johnson, everyone else in this movie is just your boilerplate stereotype that you find in every other slasher movie. One of the things that made the first two Aliens so wonderful was the dynamics of all of the characters, not just the lead ones. You bought that they were basically truckers in space in the original Alien, and you believed that the characters in Aliens were a military unit that had spent a lot of time together. With this film, it just seems that some of the characters make decisions because that's what all characters do in a slasher. I also think that the movie goes on for a little too long and has a double climax, and the ending left me with mixed feelings because of what it means to the larger story. But I can't get into that without spoiling it, so I won't. A lot of people are going to compare this to the isolation of Alien in terms of its feel. It has tons of tight corridors and dark rooms, and those comparisons are apt. But I think that the movie establishes itself as a fan of Alien 3 from the first scene, and the background of these characters feels something straight out of the prison planet from that film. Even some of the things the characters do in this movie are straight out of Alien 3, and that's not a complaint because I think that Alien 3 gets too much unnecessary hate. There are probably going to be some detractors with the character Rain. I'm looking at a certain drinker for being what they deem to be too much of a girl boss. But I think Cailee Spaeny does a good job with this tech nerd who is good at fixing things and ultimately must take charge of a situation she doesn't fully understand. This movie has so much fan service, but it's never in your face. It's mostly in the periphery, except for one line that one of the characters says near the end that made me roll my eyes, because I felt that the line didn't need to be said, but that's just a small complaint. I also would like to praise the sound design of this movie. There are multiple parts in this movie where it is completely quiet, and for a moment I thought the speaker system in my theater was malfunctioning or something, but no, it was meant to be silent, and it works so well and effectively for tension. Overall, I like this movie. It is a safe sequel and doesn't really bring anything new to the table in terms of the story of the Weyland-Yutani Company, nor any of the ideas that the last two films in the series brought, but it is a nice throwback movie. Good direction, a good performance from the lead, great sound design, and the fact that this is a straight science fiction horror film make up for any weaknesses I did find in this movie. I say that people who liked the first three Alien movies will probably like this one, but I don't like reading the audience, so I'll just say that I liked this one. It is a fan film, but it is a good fan film. I give Alien Romulus a B or 3 stars out of 4. Thanks so much for watching. What did you think of Alien Romulus? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you mixed on it? Please let me know in the comments. We also review horror movies every Friday, silent films every Sunday, and much more to come. So if you like this, please like and subscribe, and until next time, I am Ghost.